calling all Kingdom women entrepreneurs, the vision builders, the boundary breakers, and the passion igniters who know they're called and anointed to impact positive change for the kingdom through your business.
A business that honors and serves God. Welcome to Kingdom Women Entrepreneurs Podcast.
This is your host, Fideliz Cruz.
And I'm Annemarie Cross. Now, onto the show. So, welcome to another episode. I have the pleasure of interviewing Fideliz on today's show. She's going to talk all about visibility, such an important topic. But for those of you who may not yet have had an opportunity to meet Fideliz, let me introduce her to you. Fideliz Cruz is an award-winning kingdom builder, strategic partner, and trusted right hand to kingdom leaders and CEOs, walking closely with them to align faith, vision, business, and impact, and to support the practical outworking of their God-given calling. She's a founder and director of the Australian Christian Business Awards, Australia's first and only national awards platform created to honour, elevate, and celebrate Christian businesses and leaders who are building with integrity, with faith and kingdom values. She's also the founder of KWE Academy, a faith-led community and equipping platform for Christian women in business. At the heart of Fideliz work is kingdom building through leadership and community. Welcome,
Yeah.
Fideliz.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Anne-Marie, for that introduction. I'm actually thinking, oh my gosh, I'm still not used to it. Like, I hear it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's pretty good.
Who are we talking about? Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here. And of course, we have this podcast now consistently. And yeah, I'm just so glad that we get to chat about personal branding today.
Yeah, absolutely. It is such an important topic. So, for Kingdom women entrepreneurs, when it comes to building visibility, how would you define visibility, personal branding, and then also how important is it?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So visibility, we see it a lot these days now. The word visibility, right, for entrepreneurs. For kingdom entrepreneurs, however, I really believe it is all about stewardship. So, God has given us gifts, talents, testimony, stories. Things that we've gone through our experiences, and those things that we go through, they're not for us to keep, they're for to share, right? So we need to share them. And so for us, to be able to steward all the stuff that God has given us, we need to be visible, so that people can see what God is doing in our life and the testimony that we carry. And that for me is what visibility is. It's not about showing up because you want to show off or like brag or promote, self promote, but it's about giving God the glory and adding value to your community and just giving back. Hey, these are the things that I've learned. These are the things that I'm really good at and I'm talented in. I want to sew in and I want to show you that this can be done. And when we do that, we actually make more impact and help people. So it's all about stewardship.
I love that. I love that. And let's talk about some of the common issues, some of the common things that you see Kingdom women entrepreneurs holding themselves back, or maybe they're doing something which is not in the best possible way, and it actually is keeping them from being visible in the marketplace. What are some of those common issues that you see happening?
Yeah, yeah. And let me just go back quickly to that question of like, why do we need to actually be visible, right? We spoke about that it's stewardship and it's important that we share that with our community. But when we don't, and this is the problem here, is that we are not shining light, to the amazing work that God is doing. And I always go back to Matthew 5:16, right? Um, what was it? The scripture goes, let your light shine before others so they may see your good works and give God the glory. So it's going back to the why. And when we don't, it's for me, it's like, oh Lord, like I have been created to be on this world because I've got a divine assignment. And if I'm not showing up, I'm doing that a disservice. So just going back to that. And for us, I guess, things that stop us from showing up, and I find this a lot with my clients, and I mean we can all agree we go through this as well, is there's a few, and the one that always comes up for me is perfectionism, like people trying to, make sure that everything is perfect, everything is, looking so good before they show up. And so the thing is, and you and I, Anne Marie, we both know that even if we have been showing up for a long time, there's always something to tweak. You will never get to that perfect, stage, because perfection doesn't really exist. God is the only one that's perfect. So we're constantly and always evolving and changing. And so even the view of what perfect looks like will always move forward, right? Will always changing. So it's perfectionism that really stops us from showing up. So I would just say, you've got to start. And as you do it, that's how it builds your confidence. And sometimes people think, hey, Feeds, I really want to show up as well, but I don't feel like I'm ready. Like I don't have the confidence. But for us to gain confidence, we have to first show up. And as we do that, we actually gain confidence. There's no other way.
Mm.
We can't go, okay, I'm going to gain confidence now, and then I'm going to do it. No, it doesn't work like that. So it's actually the other way around. You've got to step forward, do it even when you're afraid, when you're scared. But then when you get through it, you're like, oh, wow. That wasn't hard, that wasn't too scary. So it builds your confidence. And so those are the things that stop us. And, I've got one more, which is, I think, super important as well, which is our environment. The kind of people that surrounds us or the kind of people that we allow to surround us is what I'm saying. It's like your community, the environment. And for many of us, when we, you know, in I don't know if it still probably happens still now, but back in the days, I know for me in the church, it felt like sometimes when you start to show up in those kind of environments, you kind of feel like, oh, what is she doing? Like, is she being proud or is she being, So it's kind of like that. So being aware that sometimes it is our environment that could actually, stop us from stepping out and being confident in that message that we carry, especially, and I'm speaking for myself though, my experience is sometimes it is within the church, unfortunately. Um, and, in the ministry that, women need to be quiet, women need to, just play small so that it's like acceptable in a way. So we've got to change that mindset, and God didn't design it to be like that. So being aware that it's also your environment, and and just making sure that when you want to show up, you surround yourself with people that will back you and that will cheer you on and would love to see you win. So that those are the things.
So important.
Yeah.
I want to pick up on something. I mean, there are so many different avenues that we can go down on what you have just shared, which is so important. But one of them is around perfection
Mm.
and technology, particularly if we're thinking of being visible and using some of the online tools which we have available to us. One of the studies that came back, I can't remember who it was that did the study, whether it was a consultancy, but it was a well-respected feedback that they got, that they were saying, I think it was the trust barometer that's done
Oh.
every year, and what constitutes trust, what builds trust, and they look at a number of different key industries such as media, government, not-for-profits, business, that kind of thing. What constitutes trust in that area? And so when we're talking about visibility and using online technology, we want things to be perfect.
Yeah.
People's feedback was if it's too perfect and it seems like it can be media, it automatically gets brushed with the, I'm not really sure if I trust this. So
Yes.
people want authenticity. And what
Yes.
you spoke about earlier, which I think is so important for all of us as Kingdom women entrepreneurs, God made us all different, didn't he? With
Mm.
different characteristics, different mannerisms. Embrace those, bring them to how you share your story, and then whatever visibility strategy you use, it doesn't matter if you say too many ums or ahs. I mean, obviously, if it becomes distracting, but that whole
Yeah.
perfectionist is, don't be a perfectionist, but rather just show up how God
It's
created you.
it's hard.
What do
And
you have to
I
say about that?
Yeah, and you know what, Anne-Marie, and I always, when we have these conversations, I always go back to humility And again, it is a pride thing. It's like an ego thing when we don't want to make mistakes and we don't want to be made like we look like a fool, like, and we mumble and we jumble our words. And I do it all the time, right? So, as you said, it's authenticity, it's just being yourself. But yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that you do any mistake, because actually that's what causes connection when you're vulnerable and when you share from the heart. And then, and even if you mumble, it's fine, as long as you get the message out there, and people love that. And with AI these days, like, yeah, you can just so tell, right? When things are so curated, things are so perfect, you kind of question, like, well, is this for real? Or, and people can't connect when it's like that.
Yes. And there
Mm.
may be some mannerisms and some of the things in your character that people really, it resonates and it connects with them, And so sometimes people might try and hide this. I remember years ago, there was a woman who had a very bubbly personality. She would walk into the room and you knew she was there because you could hear her laughter and she
Yeah.
just, it was infectious. And
Yeah.
someone, I don't know if it was a family member or whether it was someone that she knew, had
Mm.
said to her, "You need to tone that down because that
Oh,
is just way over the top." So she was, "Do I need to tone that down? Do I?" And actually, no, that was something that was uniquely brilliant about her. It shone
yeah.
through her. And so she could change a room. In an instant, with her presence. So, what would you say then, Fiz? And I think this beautifully goes into the next point because we've already been talking about it. Misunderstandings or mistruths, you have to be a certain way to be visible, especially if you're doing, say, like a podcast like we're doing now with audio and video. What would
Mm.
you say about people having to tone down something because they've been told something that you shouldn't be this way? What
Mm.
words of encouragement would you have for?
Oh my goodness. Like, again, Anne-Marie's already said it, you've got a unique thing that God has given you. Firstly, the way that you speak, your mannerism, you've already mentioned that. And, especially your message, the that very thing that you give people a solution to their problem. There's something that God has given you, a message, a testimony that's unique to you. And so you've got to go and share that. That's got to be visible. Again, it's like that. What's that story in the Bible, right? When Jesus gave the talents, like, God's given this talent, but then someone's hiding it and not had invested it or multiplied it. So whatever God has given you, trust that and believe that God has given that uniquely to you. There's nobody else that has that. And so that is actually an advantage, an unfair advantage for you, because you have a unique message, a unique offering that no one can ever share like the way that you do. So just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, so, so important. I'd love you to give some feedback on this next particular area when it comes to visibility. How does someone know whether they have a visibility strategy that is lacking, whether it may be an aspect of credibility that's lacking, or it's a mindset issue? We've already kind of spoken a little bit about all of those three today, but if someone is saying to themselves, okay, I need to know, I need to be more visible. How do I know that if I'm sharing stuff, it's a visibility issue or it's a credibility issue or it's my mindset that's keeping me stuck?
I really love this question because it breaks it down. And sometimes we can mix it all up, right? And I'm sure all of us as well, there's bits of it that we can relate to. So let's break it down. So visibility is about showing up. Right? Being visible. Everyone can see what you're doing. So if you're a business, if you're a, service based, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And you want to serve a community, or there's a ideal client that you have, your target audience. If you are not showing up and if you are not visible, then they can't find you, right? So that's the foundation, visibility. So as an entrepreneur, you've got to be visible. Why? Because people need the service that you have. People need whatever you're offering. And again, you can't help them if they cannot find you. So you're doing them a disservice. That's foundational. Visibility is a key. It's a must. The second part to that is credibility. So credibility is when you are visible and people can see what you're doing and like, wow, I love it, and they resonate and they want to know more about what you do. But credibility takes it to the next level. It's when they sign up with your program, or when they want to, maybe click that sign up button. And so it's the next step. So credibility is building trust. Now, when you're visible and you're doing that consistently, that's going to build trust, right? So that builds your credibility. I see this person all the time. She's consistent and, not just consistent, but also I can see the results of her work. So credibility is all about showing and telling the story of how you're making an impact, what are the results or the transformations that you're helping people with, and that builds your credibility so that you're credible. And again, when they trust you, then it's that part where they sign up and they want to be in your program, they want to do your coaching, they want to do all that stuff. So yeah, so just have a think about that. Which one are you? Are you being visible? If not, then it's a visible issue. If it's like, are you getting people signing up to your programs? And if they're not, perhaps, then you need to build on credibility. And credibility, I believe Annemarie will be speaking on this soon as well. Credibility is all about, yeah, again, building trust, but you could do that through like podcast like this and sharing your stories. And then we can do that through books, writing a book or doing videos or, having testimonials and maybe even having like a review or something like that. So that builds credibility. So I hope that makes sense. Visibility, credibility. And then what was the last one?
And then a mindset issue.
And
If
then the
something's not
mindset.
happening, how can we tell if it's a mindset issue?
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you're doing both things, but then maybe it's that the thing that's stopping you that you start at the very beginning, you're very good at visibility, you're very good at building rapport and building trust, but then you maybe lose motivation and halfway through you're like, you know what, I don't know, like it doesn't feel right. And so it's the mindset of knowing that, again, don't fall back into trying to be perfect, trying to, sound like somebody else and compare yourself to others. So those are some of the things that I feel like that stop us, with the mindset. So yeah, just have a think. What are some of the things that are stopping you at the moment from being visible and growing your business? It is, is it doubt? Is it fear of what people will say? Is it, yeah, like how can I nail this client? Really make sure that I close this client and gaining that confidence. So those are some of the things that we need to look at when it comes to mindset.
Yeah, brilliant. I love everything that you have said. And I think at the end of today's podcast, we're going to share a resource that we have created to support people in taking that step to visibility, obviously credibility and mindset as well. One final question, and this just did or does touch upon one of the things that you've said, but I do want you to share a little bit more because this could be keeping people stuck. You have people that share things online being very visible, and you would probably call them influencers. Now, I don't know whether, we could spend a whole show on influence and influencers and so forth,
Right.
but they may feel very uncomfortable, Fideliz, and I don't want to build that because that seems to be
Yeah.
more celebrity type. So what word of encouragement would you have to encourage someone maybe not to do that, but to be visible while also honoring God in the gifts that she has been given?
Hey, oh my gosh, again, a really good question. And I just realized, you know what, I'm launching a mastermind called Position for Influence. It's so funny. And I speak about this word. Now, when we talk about influence, yeah, like the brain goes like, oh, social media influencer, or it kind of it goes to that space. But the thing is, influence is it's a good thing, you know. And for me, when I think about influence, not the kind that the world thinks it is, but it is about kingdom building. Now, when you are a kingdom entrepreneur, you have this, we're accountable to God. There is a message again that we hold. There's a kingdom assignment that we have, divine assignment, and so it's about building that, and not building it for ourselves, not building what we want here on earth for our own benefit, but it's actually building His kingdom. So yeah, so influence, we're being an influence for the good, right? We're influencing others to do the same, to share the light, and to share what God has given them. And so if we could do it, if there's certain things that we could do, God has given us these expertise, testimonies, stories. If we can do that, the more that we show up, the more that we're visible, the more that we influence, the more others will do the same. And I feel like it's like giving others permission to do the same. So it's kingdom building, expanding the kingdom of God, sharing the love of God, but also empowering others to do the same, because the world obviously want to mute us and want to stop us from sharing that the message, right? But that's the goal. So as an influencer, kingdom influencer, the goal is not to attain anything for ourselves, but all glory belongs to God. I think that is the ultimate difference. And again, always going back to your why. Why are you building in the first place? And I hope that the answer is because you want to give God glory. And that just changes everything. So, Anne-Marie, also, I know that we have a beautiful thing that we're giving away on our website. Will you tell us more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So it is a free visibility roadmap. And so what we've done is each of us, and when I talked about each of us, it's yourself, myself, and of course the lovely Brenda Suosis. We have created a resource to help people start their journey on building visibility, building credibility, and of course making sure that they have the right mindset to be able to support them. Because in business, you can have visibility, you can have the credibility, but if you haven't got the right mindset, it can support you. You can be visible in the marketplace, but if you don't have the credibility, you've just got visibility, but not really generating those leads, generating that positioning in the marketplace as the go-to credible authority in your industry. And of course, you can be the most credible person that has expertise in your area of business. But if you don't have the right visibility and no one knows about you, that saying the world's best kept secret can be something that is something that you feel that relates to me. So if any of those things sound like you, then we would love to gift you this roadmap. Go to kingdomwomenentrepreneurs.com. You will see a link up the top there that says free visibility roadmap. Click on the link and we'll send it through to you. And we hope that that's a blessing to every Kingdom Women entrepreneur. So, Fideliz, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing all about visibility, how important it is, and that we can be visible and honor the Lord with our gifts and talents and information that we're sharing for others, and help it to build kingdom influence and kingdom impact. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for listening. We hope you've been encouraged by today's message. If you'd like to find out more about how you can work with a Christian business coach and to grow your business and be part of our free KWE community, go to kingdomwomenentrepreneurs.com.
And if you'd like to learn more about how to start a kingdom-focused podcast so you can build your visibility and impact in a much bigger way, go to podcastingwithpurpose.com/kingdom podcast. And we would love you to leave some feedback over on our Apple Podcast channel. We'd really appreciate it.